Hello and welcome to the Horror House Podcast. I'm Dave.
I am Chris. This week in the Horror House, we are again two dudes talking about horror stuff, movies, TV, real life. This week, we're talking real life stuff. And if you didn't already know, we're something of squatchers ourselves. We've been there.
Self-proclaimed, self-titled, but,
I would say we're board certified, Dave. I mean, in that if we created a board and certified ourselves, we could be board certified. Squatchers.
Hey, I will credential you if you credential me.
Absolutely. Consider
All
yourself
right.
credentialed.
We are credentialed squatchers now.
So tonight in the Horror House, we are talking, you guessed it, cryptids again for the third time.
Back by popular demand.
Gonna go set down some different avenues, perhaps. We'll see where we end up. It's one of those nights.
I have big news, Chris.
Tell me. I love big news.
I'm really changing things up here. I'm not drinking whiskey or bourbon with Dr. Pepper tonight. I'm not drinking whiskey or bourbon with Coca-Cola. I'm drinking the Captain with wild cherry Pepsi.
There you have it.
That's pretty wild and crazy.
That sounds pretty good. That sounds pretty good. I was thinking a couple weeks ago and then never verbalized it. Maybe each week we should say what we're drinking, since we do say like we're having a couple drinks tonight. Every night, every horror house we are. But you would be the only one to provide any kind of fun in that segment, because for me, I'd be like, I'm drinking Rolling Rock again. So maybe we just need to check in with you.
You just gotta mix it up, man. Get you some. Three Floyds has a zombie beer that the case is fucking awesome. The can's very fucking awesome. Kind of funny about Three Floyds, because I made the mistake, like my first experience with Three Floyds was their bubble gum. It don't taste like no bubble gum I ever tasted.
I thought you said Bubba Gump.
Bubble gum. Three Floyds, the brewing company, based here in Indianapolis.
That seems like a weird flavor for alcohol.
It's not bubble gum. That's just the name. I don't even think that's the attempt. Surely, because it tastes not like that.
Maybe,
but I think the
Floyds.
zombie is like a IPA, which is probably right up my alley. I don't know if you like those more bitter beers.
It depends. I like the fruitier ones. I like the, what are they? The only ones I've ever bought in a store are the, what are they called? Voodoo Ranger.
Oh, okay. Yep.
I've drank those a lot, but those are more on the fruity end of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I really liked those. But the ones we would get at Tappers is really the extent of my IPA.
Well, and I think that...
But there's been a lot of them. There's been a lot.
I really like an IPA better if it's on tap, if it's a draft more than a can.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what it is, if it's the carbonation or what it is, but I mean, it's substantially better.
The hairspray is fresher. Hey,
the hairspray they poured into it.
I don't remember if it was Tim or Jen said that to me once. They're like, the IPA tastes like hairspray. And we went and I had my first IPA. I'm like, I get it. I do get it. I don't hate it, but there is a thing at the back of this that if I didn't know him better,
you would believe it was sprayed with hairspray.
Our IPAs are cured with Suave extra strength,
extra hold. Cryptids, they use a lot of hairspray.
They maybe need to, especially the ones we're going to be talking about. Which do you want us? Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first? How do you want to tackle this?
If you don't mind, I'll jump in first.
Go for it. I mean, I mind a little
Right.
bit, but that's fine. That's fine.
And okay. I'm going to talk about a documentary that I watched about a specific cryptid from Wisconsin, and this is the documentary is based on a book written by Linda Godfrey, who we talked about in our first cryptids episode, as she has written several books on the subject.
And she ain't emailed us back, well, not once.
And yeah, I mean, she might be a little bit of a bee, but we'll see.
Maybe the B stands for busy, perhaps. We'll give her the benefit of the doubt.
That's what I meant. She's a little bit of a busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure McCall's
yeah. We're right here. We're waiting by the phone right now. The documentary, the movie, the book is called The Beast of Bray Road. And it's Bray Road, Wisconsin. It was a farming community, and apparently there are quite a lot of cryptid tales from the Wisconsin. Which kind of makes sense, right? Like, you have more cryptid stories in less populated areas, and there's a lot of wild in Wisconsin, and that's not a dig. I mean, I like that. It can be more sparsely populated, but the beast, and in the documentary, Linda talks. She talks about her research. She talked to an animal control officer. He appears on the episode. She talked to the local police departments and sheriff's office and talked about some of the reports that they had gotten. So it was serious enough, if you believe what's in the documentary, and I will caveat that, that people called the police to report what they had seen. Large, hairy, bipedal, cross between a wolf and a man.
I get it.
It's a werewolf.
Okay.
So, or I guess it could also qualify as a skinwalker, right?
Potentially, yeah.
So it's very interesting.
Do you know whereabouts this Bray Road is in Wisconsin? Is it like northern, southern, western, northwestern?
It's Elkhorn, Wisconsin, Walworth County. So let me give a quick
Elkhorn, Wisconsin. Does appear to be a bit from Milwaukee, but they're kind of southern.
I'm glad you said that, because it did say that Elkhorn was like a 45 miles from the Milwaukee area.
Milwaukee. So, it means the good land.
Thank you. Yes.
Not far from Chicago. Really?
Not far from Chicago. A little bit southwest from Milwaukee and northwest from Chicago. Not very evenly spaced. Clearly closer to Milwaukee, it looks like.
Oh yeah.
But it is a rural type area, and a lot of farmlands, and a lot of lands that have been passed from family to family. So, it is there. It is ripe for the presence of cryptids.
Right next to a Great Lake, which, I mean, they got to be great for a reason, right?
Sure.
Maybe they're.
And I mean, if you think about it logically, Chris, if you were a large bipedal humanoid wolf type creature between
Okay.
6 foot and 7 foot tall. So this is gigantic.
Okay.
Multiple reports of glowing red or glowing orange eyes. You gotta take a bath somewhere. And if you're
In
that
peace.
and like I think if I was a werewolf, I would consider myself a majestic creature.
Oh, yeah,
Clearly, you're no unicorn, but you're not bathing in an average like creek.
right.
You need a Great Lake.
I like the idea. Um. So, what else you got on this? Is it safe to call it a werewolf, or should we stick to Bray Road Beast? What's the
But I think most generally it is considered a werewolf. Although there are some people who seem to online, not in the documentary. The documentary pretty much goes down the werewolf or wolf-like creature. So maybe it's not a transformation as much as it is just this
a literal wolf?
beast. Yeah. But other people have said that maybe it is some kind of bear,
Right.
an animal mutation, or that it could even be related to Sasquatch or Bigfoot himself.
Intriguing.
So there were stories, and they presented these as like this is what was reported to animal control / law enforcement. There was a story that a car driving along Bray Road at night had seen it on the side of the road, and it was devouring like a deer. Someone else saw it cross the road in front of them, chasing deer. At least one person was reported to have hit it, and it looked more bothered than hurt
That
as it
sucks.
ran off. So yeah.
Oh
But
man.
there were multiple drawings and multiple reports, and they're all very similar. So if
are
that
there
gives,
a lot of reports, a lot of sightings?
it didn't say like how many,
More
but
than just a couple.
more than a handful.
Okay. Okay.
So
All in the same general vicinity, this Elkhorn area, or
yes,
does it spread out any?
I think there were some further away, but the majority were in this Elkhorn area. Specifically, Bray Road is an old farming road.
That sounds haunted as shit. If there wasn't a werewolf there, there's something else going on.
And the other evidence included animal mutilations, and they gave the anecdote, I guess you would say. That's I'm probably not speaking words correctly.
Those are my favorite.
These are old farming roads, and these are farming roads that have been in these families for generations, passed down from family to family to family, within the family from generation to generation.
Inbred roads.
And so, if you rangers in the area, they get noticed.
Yeah.
And if you saw a strange car in front of somebody else's farm, you're calling them up because you know them, because your family has known their family for 100 years, and you're calling them up and saying, "Hey, there's I saw a bunch of hippies in a van outside of outside your farm down by the river." So, and there aren't those stories associated with these sightings, and so maybe that gives some more credence too.
Yeah.
Wikipedia has, it's possible it's a hoax. It's possible it's mass hysteria. I don't think mass hysteria, like, that's a catch-all, and that's a bullshit thing to say.
Right.
Even if you don't believe in cryptids, I don't think mass hysteria is adding to the conversation at all.
Yeah.
So fuck that noise. No cap, straight bussin'.
On God. Woo! I
No cap.
I almost fell out of the truck there at the end, but I caught on right there.
You
Saved it. Saved it.
saved it.
Whew. Has it killed anybody? Attacked anybody?
You know what? I'm gonna say there surely as much murder happens in the United States. I mean, like murder capital of the world, bitches. For those who don't think America's good at anything anymore, we're probably the murder capital of the world.
Pretty
so
good.
surely people die. Like people go missing all the time, right?
But anything that's like,
who's to say it's not Sasquatch making them go missing?
Anything that they have said that like, oh, my aunt Alicia was totally killed by the Bray Road Beast.
Did not see anything like that. Did not see any such story.
Okay. I mean, there's really not a lot of that with cryptids. I wish there was more. I wish cryptids would get to murdering a little bit more.
Yeah, come on, pick up your game. I mean, it's only like natural when encounters happen that it would happen. So I think it maybe is happening more than we understand. But like, what if you were a cop on your report? Are you going to be like, they're obviously mauled by a bat squatch, or do you want to keep your job?
Right. That's a good point.
So the Beast of Bray Road, it was streaming on the Prime Video. So if you're interested in learning more, by all means, check it out. The book by Linda Godfrey, even though she is too much of a bee, too much of a busy to respond to us directly. Yeah, still check it out if you're interested.
Yeah. And is that is that going to throw us now? God, how far away is this?
Us?
No, to where we're going next. 620 miles to Boone County, Dave, West Virginia. Are you ready to take this trip?
Yeah, I am ready. And Boone County sounds like this is a rough and tumble, like salt of the earth type.
Yes.
Boone County, West Virginia.
So heading south to West Virginia, we go. And I don't know if you remember, Dave, we have talked about this specific area. Specific used a little bit loosely, but not as loosely as you would imagine.
When specifically did we talk about it? Is it near Point Pleasant? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
There's a few different cryptids around these West Virginia areas. Mothman, I think, obviously being the top tier. He's a bee, and that he's busy cryptid.
He's very busy.
Yeah. And there's another one, the Flatwoods monster beast, something like that. We briefly talked about before. It's not that far away from Mothman. But what I'm going to talk about is I should have picked a different one because I didn't realize how hard it would be to say after I've had some years. The Sheepsquatch, aka a white thing.
Don't get all Christian nationalist on us right now.
It is potentially. I mean, I don't know what its political leanings, but you never can tell these days. But we're going to West Virginia, Dave. We're going to the TNT area, which is 8,000 acre region where ammo was manufactured during World War II. Giving
I
you a little
believe we talked
backstory.
about that with Point Pleasant,
Yeah.
the ammo dumps, and
Which was shut down and abandoned. And then later on, it was discovered that, oh my God, that's super hazardous.
right, yeah, you
The
can't just leave these things around for kids to play with.
Yeah, TNT and its byproducts are so bad. You can't. But for some reason, the government apparently seems to follow the thing of rather than remove or destroy them, it becomes more of a game of store and contain. Right, so they're just there. And there's these TNT igloos that just look creepy on their own. Like that could just be a cryptid itself, the TNT igloo. Um, But one blew up just like 10 years ago, I was reading. And I guarantee that in 50 years, that's going to spawn a new cryptid. I'm putting my
Oh,
money on the
sure,
table. I don't know what
sure.
kind, but really, really banking on that. But that is Sheepsquatch territory. Along with the Mothman, obviously not as prolific a cryptid, but kind of interesting. And kind of in that, I wouldn't say werewolf, but in that same kind of beastly, wolfy, bear-y kind of a way. Quick description of the sheep squatch. It is estimated around 6 feet tall, about the
Okay,
size of a bear.
check, check.
um, it white woolly fur.
Okay,
Uh, it now when I say 6 feet tall, that's when it's standing on its hind legs. It is a quadruped.
okay, that's a little different.
A little different, a little different. White woolly fur, a hairless tail like a possum, which sounds disgusting. I hate it.
That sounds sick.
Hairless tails
Love
ain't for me.
it. It's disgusting, and I love it. Go ahead.
A longer head or face, more akin to a dog, a canine,
Okay,
but with saber-toothed tiger like fangs out of the mouth.
that is whew, that sounds scary as fuck.
Paws or claws. They're saying it more in the arena of a raccoon, the way their kind of paws and hands are, which isn't really horrifying. It's just like, oh, okay. But to seal it all off, we get a pair of horns to that of a goat. Kind of satanic.
Wow. Okay, this thing sounds badass.
It kind of has especially when you go look at some artist renderings, kind of in that vein of what people want to think Wendigos look like now, even
Okay.
though it's that so far removed from what. And we talked about them, I think, in the last Cryptids episode. Go listen to that. Instead of that more regular, what they've always been described as. But the potential first sighting of this, I've got some sightings, Dave. I got them down to a T. 1929.
Okay.
A miner on his way home from work encounters a white thing. About this guy estimated about the size of a large dog, and it attacks him. It pounces on him and attacks. He's able to wrestle away, get free, and run, and it leaves him alone. Doesn't give chase. Gets home and finds that after all this fighting, this attacking that this thing does to him, he's not hurt at all. Not a scratch, maybe a scratch, but nothing serious. Nothing that you'd be like, I'm injured. That's the first one. Now
Okay.
we're gonna skip ahead some 60 something years. It's 1994. A former Navy officer sees one that is drinking from a creek and eventually just wanders away. He watches it so long, it just gets up, goes on about its business.
Okay.
That same year, 2 children spot the creature, who saw it on its hind legs, much like a bear does, when they get up on their hind legs. And they're the ones that give the estimate that it's around 6 feet tall, I think, is where that comes from. It somehow becomes startled by the children and runs away through the woods. Next,
Okay.
1995, we're going down a different path. A couple is driving through Boone County and spot a white creature laying in the ditch. They stop to get a look at it. It rises up, its horns. They say it has 4 red eyes. And it begins attacking their car, scratching it, clawing it, whatever. They're able to drive away, get home. Obviously, there's a bunch of scratches in the car. And there you go. 1999, a few campers hear what could be chalked up to a bear outside of their tent, snorting and like rooting around outside a little bit. But it bursts through the darkness and chases them back home. I don't know why they're camping in their backyard. It seems like it probably wasn't their backyard, but they were close enough to run home. It stops at the edge of the woods, gives some kind of terrible scream, and then leaves. Next day, they go back to the campsite. It's all tore up, ruined. And lastly, 2015, some more campers, but this time 270 miles away from Boone County. These guys are in Virginia, and that's kind of weird because all of the past ones have been like there. But they claim this one was 8 to 9 feet tall, a shoulder length of 4 to 5 feet. Eventually runs down this hill that they spotted on towards them. Luckily, there is a river in between them, and they watch it, and it appears to kind of look around to see if there's a way to cross the river before it just gives no fucks and jumps into the river and begins swimming across. They run. Sheepsquatch gets across, and then they hear I've not read the proper description of this scream from some other creature, presumably. Off in the distance, Sheepsquatch he stops and whimpers before he hears this howl or whatever this noise is. Whimpers, takes off back in an opposite direction of that sound. And there you go. There is your Sheepsquatch, and all of the sightings, major ones. I mean, you go down these rabbit holes and you can read people on whatever message board being like, oh yeah,
sure,
my mom went to high school with Sheepsquatch. But these are like the big ones that are like, you click on a Sheepsquatch article, you're going to read all of those or most of those.
I have engaged in backyard camping quite a bit when I was young. And the boys, Tyler and Matt, camped in the backyard a few times. Went out back, set up a tent, and let them camp in the.
Anything ever run
backyard.
You or them back inside?
No. I mean, honestly, no. And which is strange considering we live so close to, some wild areas here in James County, and James County has its own cryptid.
The white nationalist.
We never saw anything. Yeah, he's not a white nationalist. He's a total lib. But no, nothing chased them in. Nothing chased us in when I was young. Although I've seen and heard some things that make me wonder when I was young.
Right.
So, very cool. I mean, this thing sounds very metal. This is a wild area. I wonder if, except I Googled some things while you were talking, and like early sightings of the Beast of Bray Road, early earliest reported sightings 1930s.
Was there a big lapse
The
in that too? Did you
Sheepsquatch.
see?
It I didn't see that, although cases clearly picked up in the 70s and 80s, it seems like.
Okay.
And it may just be that in the 70s and 80s there was more ability to report and get stories out and things like that.
Yeah.
So I did see, when I Googled some Sheepsquatch early sightings.
I'm envious how well
long
you
time
can
ago.
say that on like a cold run. Like, I had to think about it every time I was getting ready to say it, and each time I'm like, Sheepsquatch.
Sheepsquatch.
But
yeah,
you just
Sheepsquatch.
throw it out there. I admire your ability.
I'm something of a linguist myself. So some really cool timing, like, is there something there with all the stuff going on in Point Pleasant? You wonder if, I mean, if it wasn't so early, some of these sightings, which I guess, what was the earliest sighting that you said for the
1929.
Sheepsquatch? 1929 might have been pushing it a little bit, but maybe not. Like, if TNT was being manufactured in this area,
Yeah.
is Sheepsquatch a mutation caused by
That's another thing.
the chemical processes involved here?
So apparently, Sheepsquatch gives off some kind of sulfur odor, which it's hard telling. Is that from its origins there in that TNT area? Is it just kind of that musty wild animal flavor that it's got? Who's to say? But I mean, it certainly fits, right?
When I start hearing something smells of sulfur, my brain goes to one spot. The devil?
The devil? Vicky Valancourt's the devil.
Vicky Valancourt showed me her boobies and I liked it.
She showed me her Sheepsquatch.
Oh, that's way intimate.
And I ran away. It yelled at me and I ran away.
She needs to shave that thing. Winona had a big brown beaver and Vicky Valancourt had a Sheepsquatch.
A white Willis Sheepsquatch. What do you think? Like, a majority of the sightings that I read about, it wasn't aggressive, and
it sounded.
In those moments, it was aggressive. It was almost more like it's trying to run people away, which I think is interesting.
Very, very. And the people of the West Virginia mountains are that's a pretty tight-knit community and pretty solitary community, those mining towns and such. And much like, down in eastern Kentucky, a lot of your family.
Appalachia.
I would think, like, there would probably be more sightings and more tales if this is real.
Yeah.
If they were more open to, like, there's a mistrust of government and city slickers and outsiders, and I have to think that plays into why maybe there's not as much reporting of these kinds of sightings.
That's a good point. I mean, some people from those kind of rural areas, if you get on their good side, we'll talk your ear off, right? And I can only imagine you get the right guy, you're like, what do you know about a Sheepsquatch? He'd be like, I got fucking so many Sheepsquatch stories.
Sure.
And I mean, do you believe them? Do you not believe them? I don't know, but they would be fun to hear. But I've got uncles that can spin a yarn, as they say, and like I don't give really a shit about what the story actually is, but they know how to tell a tale, and so it's fun to listen to. So if one of them was to tell me, "Oh, me and old cousin Troy heard something down the road," and then the next thing I know, he's getting. Well, I guess Sheepsquatch don't attack them. So, anyways, I don't know where that train of thought was going, but
I mean, for what it's worth, it seems like very similar to the Beast of Bray Road. That
they are.
There were sightings, and clearly it is a hunter, clearly it is a carnivore, but not a lot of stories of it actively targeting people.
Yeah.
So
we didn't. We also didn't plan our cryptids together. We typically don't.
No, we like to kind of surprise each other and teach each other. So there's always the chance one of these cryptid stories, one of these cryptid episodes, we're going to come to the table with having researched the same cryptid. And that will be very interesting when that happens.
I kind of almost expected it tonight. And it didn't, but they were close. And when I first started to pick my cryptid out, I'm like looking through and I'm like, not that one, not that one. Werewolves. That's intriguing. And I don't know that that's specifically what sent me down Sheepsquatch Lane in the rabbit holes. But I mean, there's obviously the similarities there. But werewolves were certainly on the list. I'm like, I guess I never really thought of them as a cryptid.
Yeah, I mean that's the Beast of Bray Road. The way I kind of ended up on this is very like dumb. I was on Prime and I searched the keyword cryptid and I wanted to find a cryptid documentary, and it was mostly UFOs and Bigfoot. And I don't have anything against either one, but UFOs, we have separate UFO episodes. I've never thought of UFOs as cryptids. And Bigfoot, I love me some Bigfoot. I love me some Squatch. As you know, I am what did we certify each other? No, what it was. Well, anyway, I am a board certified Squatcher, so I love it. Obviously, I have a special place in my heart for Squatch, but I wanted something different. And I came across a couple, and I started watching the start of a couple of these documentaries, and they just didn't grab me. And so I watched like 10 minutes of one, turn it off, and watched something else, turn it off. When I watched Beast of Bray Road, it really did like kind of, grab me a little bit. So I stuck around, and I feel like I was rewarded with something good. I feel like if we're ready to move on, we've got some hotness. We've got some news in the world of cryptid. I don't know if you've been seeing this. I've been seeing this a lot on my news feed. So we've got Loch Ness Monster news, Chris. And I didn't really talk about this even in the pre-show tonight. But there is Loch Ness Monster news. So every year, I guess, they get together and kind of do a kind of coordinated search of Loch Ness. They get a couple boats, they use their sonar, they sweep the lake. Usually it kind of comes up empty. But this year, we've got a little bit of something. Maybe a little something. Even though usually we get a nothing burger, this year we got a something burger. They had some pictures.
Ness's
it was more than a hat. It was not her hat. It was her panties.
Shameful.
And they smelled like fish. Oh, got her. Some pictures, some video of Nessie out on the lake. The hard part, whenever you see an image on a lake, and this is the practical science brain coming out. Mm-hmm. When you see an image and there's nothing in the image to judge size by, like to compare to, then it very much can seem smaller than what is expected. It can seem larger than what it really is, just because you don't have anything to gauge with when it's out in the open. I've seen videos where they're cropped and a cat can look like a panther.
Yeah.
But then when you see like the whole thing not cropped and you have some other things in near the cat to kind of get a frame of reference for size, then it's like, oh, clearly that's not a panther, that's a cat. So there's some of these mysterious images on the lock. I did watch some of the videos. It never like did the whole like long neck head coming out of the water thing. It's just kind of hanging around on the surface for several minutes.
Right.
But they did their annual troll of the lake, and everybody had their underwater sonar going. And the one video I watched several, but they made mention. The one I watched that I liked the best, that was the most detailed, most well put together. They said they got some weird sonar signatures, and this happened just a couple weeks ago, I think. Or actually, maybe this was done in the spring, but then everything just got kind of put together and released in a couple weeks ago in August.
Okay.
And you don't get to hear like the sonar, so that's missing. But they say it's some weird noises. Again, you don't get to hear it. I'm not willing to go out on a limb and say like, hey, I give this my Dave seal of approval as legit. When I haven't heard it, and I don't know what all the evidence is, but it's interesting to me because Loch Ness is like one of the original cryptids. I feel like.
Yeah.
When I was young, it was basically Bigfoot, Loch Ness, and Chupacabra, and that was the big three, and that was like all I knew when I was a young dumb.
I don't think I had Chupacabra till I was grown.
Yeah, I mean, and I didn't really
the X-Files
know much about it. Yeah. I think it's definitely grown in popularity. It always seemed like the third wheel. It was, Bigfoot and Nessie were the big boys. Big girls, I'm sorry, or big people, or big non-people, big entities. I don't want to offend any Loch Nessies.
So I'm
out there.
I'm sure we've talked about Loch Ness Monster before, but maybe we've not. Years ago, my buddy Tim told me.
I think maybe we've talked about it. Yeah.
One of the theories is whale penis. So if everybody goes to Google and types in whale penis and looks at images, you'll be like, huh, it's not a far cry to think of, like, I don't know when that infamous picture of Nessie was taken, but I mean, there's at least some possibility that it was just some whale hanging dong for a picture. Which is, listen, I wish it was real because that's way cooler, but it's way funnier if it is just a whale penis.
I understand, and Googling that image now, and I remember this being
we've had to talk
topic
about
of conversation.
Yeah.
Yes. I can see where that comes from. I just sent you a picture that looks like a killer whale is about to give oral pleasure to a whale's penis. So there's that.
With giant teeth. What? That's a That's
with
a new
giant
cryptid.
fucking that's don't use your teeth on that.
God,
come on,
chill out, calm down.
And there are images, but why? I want to know biologically. Like, okay, forget the cryptids right now. Why does a whale swim with his penis hanging out of the water? Because there are multiple images of this happening.
Good question. Showboating, I guess. Like,
yeah, I'm I'm gonna have to call somebody down at the SeaWorld and ask them what's going on.
Like, I mean, there's a couple pictures of I don't know, fossilized or petrified of these on trophies on walls, which is fucking weird. First off, second off,
Right, they belong grinded up and put in your fucking.
What's my dog gonna eat if not?
yeah. Well, dog, I'm not giving my dog whale penis.
Oh, why? It looks...
Because I'm going to eat the whale penis, so I gain the power of whale penis.
I see.
That's how that works.
That's fair. But I mean,
ancient Chinese medicine is completely 100% based on eating animal penis.
That's absolutely a TikTok out there that's like, if you eat dried whale penis, it will cure your anxiety and make your feet feel less numb. Some fucking stupid.
Yes. Right. Oh, what ails you, my son? My knee hurts when I play soccer.
Whale penis, I say.
Whale penis. And what ails you, my son? I'm losing my hair. Oh, tiger penis. And you? My left arm was lost in a tractor trailer accident. For you, armadillo penis.
The best penis of all.
The rarest penis. That female armadillo penis is the rarest penis, if anyone's interested in penis science. So that concludes the penis science podcast.
We went hard, and I feel like it paid off, as it usually does. Usually does.
Chris, peek behind the curtain for the rabble. Chris, cool story for you, maybe. I was talking to somebody today, and they said, "Oh, I would love to listen to the podcast." And I bet my daughter would love the podcast because she loves horror movies. I said, "Well, how old is your daughter?" 23. I said, "Oh, okay, maybe she would." And I said, "It is two guys who drink and tell dick jokes." And she's like, "Oh no, I will not share that with my daughter." Okay. I was like, "Look, that's fine. We know what we are. But if you like dick jokes," and this is the most literal dick joke we've ever had.
Yeah, well, I don't know that we go into dick jokes very often, but we certainly spent our budget here.
Yeah, we blew our wad of dick jokes today.
Which, that's fine. That's fine.
Sure.
So what you're saying is dick jokes cost us a listener.
A viewer. That's okay. It is what it is.
What it is. They're going to miss the greatest Cryptids episode, maybe of all time. Maybe the greatest. Probably not the worst.
Everybody's saying. Wow. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Who got that one? Rasheed Rice and Blake Bell. What's Blake Bell doing catching passes from Patrick Mahomes in the opening of the NFL season tonight, and Sky Moore has 0 fucking catches?
What's up with that?
What the fuck is up with that? He's got 1 run. I'm glad I didn't. Might have started him tonight. Anyway, back to the...
Dave is live streaming NFL opening night, beginning. What's the correct terminology?
It is the kickoff night of the NFL season. Yeah, and it looks fucking rough for me. I did not realize I had Sky Moore still in my starting lineup. I don't know that I would. I don't know that I would take him out with Kelsey hurt. So there's that. Anyway, Chris, we've established that the Loch Ness Monster could be real or could be whale penis. I've got another cryptid story. I sent you a TikTok earlier this week, and there is some other substantial research on the interwebs about a cryptid that we all know and love, and maybe don't realize is a cryptid because it is based on some true life stuff. It's Smurfs.
Right.
So Smurfs as a cryptid. I'm going to start with the villain of the Smurfs cartoon, Gargamel, who is based on a real life Franciscan monk. He was a Franciscan monk in the 12th or 13th century. He was a Dominican. He was in charge of carrying out the Inquisition, which might be why he is portrayed as a bad guy in the cartoon. It's hard to believe that like something in this carried over to a cartoon from the 80s.
You never know. You
never know. But he definitely dresses like a monk in the cartoon.
Right.
His cat Azrael. Azrael is the name of one of the avenging angels.
Cool Batman character.
Very cool Batman character. The Smurfs might represent communism, but they also might represent the 7 deadly sins. With like Brainy Smurf is pride and envy. Smurfette is lust, etc. Papa Smurf might represent the Pope, who is clearly evil, or he might represent Satan, which is why he has the red hat and everybody else has white hats.
Okay.
So,
I knew a kid in school, in elementary school, that was not allowed to do a lot of things. He was one of the kids that had to be taken out of the room when it was health class time and stuff like that. But he could not watch the Smurfs because his parents said Smurfs either meant devil in another language or something to that effect. And I'm sure we made fun of him for that, but
sure, but this maybe gives some credence to that.
Yeah.
How did his mom feel about the Snorks?
God.
Who were underwater pink Smurfs with a penis on their head? A whale penis. Specifically.
I was more of a Snorks guy. I like the Snorks.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. It's bold of you to say that.
I actually had forgot about them, but you immediately like brought them to the forefront. And I'm like, they're cooler.
That is very bold of you to say that. I don't agree, but I like that you're so bold.
I'll go. Thank you. I'll respect other opinions, but Snorks were fucking cool.
What is cool about having a whale penis on your head?
I was gonna say, maybe some people somewhere think that Snorks are literally just swimming whale penises in a cartoon.
they're just pre-Viagra whale penis. They're whale. This is what happens to a whale penis when the whale doesn't eat enough lion penis.
So
it's the circle of life. Every animal eats somebody else's penis.
That may carry more truth than I care to acknowledge. We were the real cryptids the whole time.
All right.
So what else about the Smurfs do you got? Like what like I mean, do we got
a lot of
what do we got?
A lot of their, like, if you just watch the cartoon, they live in mushroom houses. They're communal creatures. They're very much
Mennonites.
Fae. They're very much Fae. They're very much fairy folk from like Irish, English folktale. And so, I just think that there is something about that. There is some weird episodes. If we want to talk about the cartoon, there's the one with the mirror Smurf. There's I think it's in several, like the black Smurfs, the evil Smurfs.
What?
I mean, clearly it's racist. origins.
No,
This
to go along with that, maybe I'm remembering wrong, but I remember something along the of the effect that like Gargamel was like he's created as this Jewish kind of a character, and it's very like it's the evil Jewish person coming after you, and you're the Smurf. Like, did you see anything like that before? I swear I've seen something along those effects, but it's been too long, and I don't remember.
Clearly, the Smurf cartoon paints him as the bad guy, right?
Yeah.
He's trying to turn the Smurfs into gold, I believe.
I thought he was just trying to eat him. I may be mixing that up with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I mean, I thought he was trying to turn them into gold. Azrael wanted to eat them, and he always was boiling her.
Rebel, let us know. Let us know.
Because I need him to turn them into gold. So, yeah. Let us know what you think about the Smurfs and our Smurfs cryptids.
How do you feel about the black Smurfs? Oh, my God. Are they literally blackface Smurfs? I gotta see.
They're not just black bait. They're not just black face. They're like black.
Oh, like all literally like
all over. Yeah,
I do kind of remember those. Yeah,
I don't think they were like super common, but I do think they maybe made more than one appearance.
Yeah. Could you imagine like trying to ask for a pop vinyl of that?
Of a black
do you guys
Smurf?
have the black Smurfs? Any black Smurfs? And they're like, you can leave. Wow. Mind blown. Snorks and black Smurfs.
Who knew that's what you were going to get tonight when you signed on to listen to a Cryptids podcast?
The Cryptids podcast took a crazy dive after about halfway, and it became Whale Penis, Black Smurfs. Wow.
I tried to watch this week, and I know I told you in pre-show tonight, so it's not going to be a surprise to you. I wanted to watch another show that I feel like is a very well-loved 80s horror movie.
Right.
That does feature a cryptid without, like, at first thought, you probably don't think of this as a cryptid, but it's the minions from The Gate and The Gate 2.
Yeah.
These are clearly cryptids of some kind. Sure, they come from hell, so maybe, you know.
Who's to say? Who's to say which ones do it?
Obviously
the Black Smurfs.
Right. Black Smurfs clearly come from hell. Sheepsquatch is totally metal. But minions, like, we used to talk about a specific version of the minions, and I don't know if this came from anything or if we just kind of developed it on our own. So you can tell me if you've ever heard of this, Chris.
Okay.
We call them moonions.
It's all
they were like okay. So we talked about these moonions. They're kind of like, they are minions.
They sound delicious.
But yeah, that's the problem with moonions. You don't get to see them. They come out, they are more active at night, but they exist mostly only on the periphery of your vision.
Okay.
If you've ever, like, turned your head because you swear you see some motion or you see some activity and you turn your head and then there's nothing.
Right.
Which is totally fucking creeping me out now because I just whipped my head around in demonstration as I'm saying that. And I've got shit hanging on my dresser that is just really, like, moving like it has just been rustled. And there's no rustler
as long as
around.
It wasn't crow.
So.
Hey. Here all week, folks.
We do what we can. We do what we can to entertain. But that's the work of minions. They live on the periphery of your vision. If you ever see that, like,
Okay.
oh, I swear something's outside of my. I swear there's something going on. I turn my head. I swear I saw something moving, or those are minions. That's their power. They're kind of invisible when you look directly at them. They can only be seen at the very edges of peripheral vision.
Okay.
And they are kind of, we always talked about them being kind of like gremlins. Gremlins in the Gremlins movies are very out and proud, right? They're dancing in the streets, they're flashing in the bar, they're smoking and drinking and carrying on, and some of them are in drag and some of them are do different things. Moonians are more they are like gremlins, though, in that they like to cause that chaos. They're spying on you, they're watching your deeds, they're maybe influencing you, maybe kind of outside of normal senses, your subconscious. Maybe they're pushing you like, come on, Dave, one more shot's not going to hurt you. And you know what? It's not. I'm going to do it. I'm going to take one more shot right now because the Moonians are pushing me to it, Chris.
I always feel like a million's watching me.
Exactly.
I got no privacy.
So, that is something that is very specific, like the blending from the minion to the moonion. And I always kind of liken that if you could see them, they probably look like similar to the minions from the gate.
Yeah.
And this is totally a Kenny thing that we kind of come up with together. So
those really are more akin to like a Wendigo than what the modern Wendigo looks like. The ashen skin, kind of,
sure.
more of like a zombie looking kind of a creature than a werewolf sheep faced thing. I don't know where that started.
Next season we got to do antlers. I'm going to lay stake right now. Next season we've got to do antlers.
Next season's going to be
as a Wendigo tale.
Next season's going to be healthy because we got to.
Oh yeah.
Every week we're like, we got to do this.
Yeah, and I'm determined. We got to get some Jason in next season. We got to get a little more Freddy in next season.
Oh, yep. They're on my list. I think it's time.
But it definitely is.
But that said, we are winding down the current season 5 of the Horror House. Only a few more weeks left. We'll let you know, but we got a halfway point to the Chuddies, which we weirdly do our seasons where I don't think the Chuddies are going to end up when they were last year, which I want to say was sometime during winter. I think they're going to be in spring this time. If I was a guessing man.
We're freeform. We do things as they come. We don't. Structure is for the preppy, the yuppie. We like to things fast and loose around here.
I guess we could always just kind of put it there if we wanted it to. But yeah, we'll figure it out.
We can always just have a super long season. Like, season 6 is 48 weeks long.
Right. But we're winding down. Send us your messages on the you can still go to anchor.fm, but it directs you back to Spotify.com, podcasters, whatever that fucking shit is called now. Are we as professional as Spotify would like? Probably not. And they can suck my ass.
We like to think of ourselves as just more regular guys. We're just horror fans too.
Yeah. And we'll fight Spotify.
And we're just horror fans. Yeah, we're just horror fans getting drunk and talking about scary stuff. And hopefully that's something you like. And if you like it, please like and follow. Hit us up. You can send us a DM. You can tag us. on X, which is the douchiest thing in the world today.
I don't want to say it.
At Sweetness1 with 6 E's, or at Horror House 2, because there's 2 of us.
You can email us, horrorhousepodcast@gmail.com, or go to the Horror House page on Facebook.
Okay, boomer.
Because I said email.
Yeah, because email is like, that's old school.
You can go to the Horror House TikTok at TikTok. How do you direct somebody to your TikTok? We don't have one, but I'm asking for a friend.
We don't have one, yeah. One may be coming. Maybe that.
You never know.
We got a special end of season show we're kind of kicking around. Maybe I'll do my first TikTok for that.
There you have it.
What about the face space?
I said the thing.
Horror House on Facebook?
Yeah.
If you're on Slasher, the social media website for horror fans.
And for fans of
look us up.
Get on there.
Yeah, look us up. I'm Horror House Dave. This is Horror House Chris.
Oh.
Yeah, send us a friend request so you can see our posts, because apparently you don't get to see them if you're not friends. So the whole point is to mass a lot of friends.
Yeah,
you want to be following and friending everybody you can.
Yes.
And it's super cool. Like, I've not really met one douche on Slasher, so I don't know how they must have some anti-douche software or something.
I got on there just the other day and saw some person trying to stir up some drama. And I'm like, fuck off. I mean, I didn't say anything. I just scrolled past it, which is, but it doesn't seem like the place where you're going to air out your dirty laundry with so-and-so. It just ain't. You're there to talk about stuff, other people, and the horror, man. I'm speaking of which, excuse me. Last but not least, like us, share us, spread the word. And
follow on Spotify. We need those Spotify follows. We're trying to get monetized here. Remonetized, because we were monetized at one time, and then the evil corporate empire of Spotify fucked us.
Our sweet baby Anchor is gone. Now all that remains is its grizzled husk of a body. And there in the corner is Papa Spotify.
I'm going to pour one out for Anchor. I'm going to pour it down my throat when I pour it out. But I'm taking this shots for you, Anchor.
There you have it. Next week in the Horror House, we were talking about, I'll be honest, I rate this movie quite high, and I cannot wait to talk about it. Something is the Devil's Playground, or the Devil's Play Toys. What's the proper phrase?
Blank does the devil's work. That's what I always say.
Oh, maybe it's that.
Okay. I can't wait to preach to the rabble about the dangers of the marijuana. And you should not be out there using pot needles willy-nilly.
Pot needles have made a impressive comeback in the Horror House. Here,
I have never used a pot needle, and I'm very proud of that.
I'm right there with you. Now, if Rolling Rock made a pot needle, I mean, I'd try it once.
Then you'd have to consider it.
But I wouldn't like suck up the pot through my veins. I wouldn't inhale the pot, bloodly speaking. You know what I mean?
I smoked marijuana in college, but I didn't inhale. But I did fucking intern with a cigar.
But I didn't look her in the eyes.
It's not cheating if I didn't close my eyes.
So until next time, come back next time. That's a weird way to say things.
That's fucked up.
We'll see you. We'll talk to you then. Same cemetery, different grave.
And stay tuned for something special coming at the end of the year. Fucking supersized as shit.
The Snorks.
The Snorks episode.
Snorks on Ice.
Oh shit! I feel like I watched that in the
That
80s.
sounds real.
I know I went to Cowboy Bob and Janie on Ice one time. So.
Cowboy Bob and Janie?
Yeah, I know you're a little young, Chris, but yeah,
know.
they were big shit in WTT4 when I was.
Hold on. Maybe ringing a little bit. Maybe I saw some remnants. It does look.
I don't want to brag. Yeah, I do, but I don't want to brag. I want to act like I don't want to brag. But I won free tickets to Cowboy Bob and Janie on Ice by coloring in the Waffle House coloring contest.
Damn, son.
Damn.
He was in all the lines.
Yeah, people was like, damn, is that a famous artist Pablo Picasso? Or is that Dave Hyatt from Columbus, Indiana coloring those pages? Bitch.
Was it ever determined that you copied Picasso or?
I promise I did not copy Picasso. If they had a nose, I colored the nose where it belongs.
Okay. Fair.
Fair. I'm not a Rembrandt. But I remember coloring very well.
I feel like that's a joke I should be getting, but I missed the handlebars. Yeah. I fell on the ground. You're down the street. I'm like, Dave, come back. But it's too late. It's too late for me.
Well, I mean, that joke was going one way, and then it premiered in another direction. These jokes are so good, I should charge Monet.
I'm shutting this podcast down right now.
Yeah, it's time to Van Gogh.
Oh my God. Slow clap. Here's your roses. Slow clap. We're out. We're out. Goodbye. You don't have nothing now, do you? Are you done? Okay.